before we get started, like in anything we do, right, we want to introduce ourselves again for the viewers that, well, I don't know how many new viewers are here. My name is Dan. I am the owner of Strive to Thrive LLC, a self care journey, and I am now here creating this content, this platform for you to be able to come on in and get some of this PTG self care knowledge so we could strive to thrive and be in a better place and be better than who we were yesterday, right? So again, that's me. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who I am. Now, we all want to know who James is. So go ahead, James. Let us know who you are.
I'm James McDougall. I went through the barn, 2023, class of 41, class 41, I believe.
Yep.
Anyway, I was in the Army for a little while, been law enforcement for a little while, um, trying to struggle well every day. Um, met Dan, you were a guide. Um, I heard him say in one of the modules something about I think it was where I want to be in 5 years, and you were given an example of how to do that module, and you said something about podcasts, and my ears perked up because I've always been kind of into podcasting, video casting a little bit, so I was like, huh, I need to talk to him. So
Oh yeah.
uh, I started trying to talk to him, and he kept trying to kind of push me away a little bit, going, okay, okay, we'll talk, we'll talk, we'll talk.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a thing at the time,
Yeah.
but we weren't told, that at the time. But um, I got in touch with, or we got in touch with each other after the class, and we've been pretty much tight ever since. And I'm be honest with you, you're part of my 3 to 5, brother.
Oh yeah.
You definitely, some of the things that we've done. We've been on some shindigs a couple of times. We've gone to the driving range. You could see my so-called long ball,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, it's been a journey, brother.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were in the military. You served, and you also served in the community side as well, right?
yeah. I was infantry airborne for a while. Went into after I got out of the military, I went to. I figured I kind of lost out, and I felt kind of void, I guess you could say, with the brotherhood. I, I was infantry, and I was so going on a march. You had that wedge formation, and the best way I can explain it is you had that person who you trusted with your life in front of you, beside you, and behind you, and you knew that they trusted you with their life. Didn't matter what color they were, didn't matter what music they listened to, didn't matter any of that, but it was there, and that's what I was searching for when I got out, and I didn't know what I was searching for,
Yeah.
so I figured law enforcement would be it. For me, it was not. Now, I have heard a few other people say that they found that brotherhood in law enforcement, but I didn't. Um, I stayed. I gave it a good try, about 10 years. Now I'm in the private sector, working for a company doing some nerd stuff, but I really get into it. But I really didn't start learning myself until I went through the Big Red Barn and people like Dan and Billy and Lenny, and just everybody. Just it was like that Bruce Lee, that pouring the glass of water of knowledge,
Yeah.
and it really hit, and it's still sticking.
Oh, man. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the kind words that you just said. And that's why me and Billy and Lenny and all of us, we always say this is why we do it. This is why we continuously uh, educate ourselves and facilitate because I mean we're going through our journey as well. We're going through it too, and
Well,
we
I was on
want you
last
to
night,
know
and
that.
I heard when you said when you were thanking Billy, and he said, and I told my wife about this today, and he said, I appreciate that, but it wasn't me, brother. It was you.
Yeah.
He said, all I did is just showed you the toolbox. You
Yep.
grabbed the tools and you fixed it.
Yep.
So I like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and taking it on, taking that ownership and saying
Yeah.
yes, because we still have issues saying like, no, I didn't. Like you did it, but we need to take that ownership. Man, the community we've created and the brotherhood, sisterhood, all these things, because it's not just us, it's everyone that's part of this, and those that are reaching out to us now, like Berg, right? Um, he's an alumni. However, I'm pretty sure, or any other individual that's here, everything we've said about self care relates to people, to individuals. Anyone could grab it and use what we do. What we were taught at the barn, like all this information, they could take it and they could do the. They could be in the same state of mind. A school teacher could take on these wellness practices and be in the same state of mind as myself who was in the military. So again, this all this self-care thing, it's a people thing. And I
Hmm.
would like to emphasize that continuously because I don't want anyone to think that that's here that just because we were veterans and first responders, we're oh yeah, we know more about struggle and we this wellness thing and this self care thing only revolves on us. No, it revolves around everyone, and that's why I'm here
Yeah.
to try to emphasize it and try to let others know that if hey, if you need help, if you need assistance, if you need any someone to talk to, please reach out to those like us. Right? Doesn't have to be a veteran. You don't have to be a veteran. Reach out to us. We'll have a conversation. We have things in
And if
common that you may not know that we do.
right, and if we don't know the answer, we know who to get in touch with to get it.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
for
yeah.
sure, right? So, and that's the thing. I think, and that goes into a point that I want to say that for me, I was a veteran, and I am really careful with making sure that hey, look, I'm not I'm not going towards the veteran. Like I'm not like, oh yeah, because you're not a veteran, I'm not going to help you out because we don't have nothing common. No, that's not the thing. And that's not what I'm doing. And I think I could speak to that because I've met so many individuals that weren't in the military that I am now having fostered relationships and having conversations with them, and they didn't even serve. I had a project manager that we had conversations and we have lunch and stuff, and he wasn't even in the military. It's amazing, and we talk about our relationships and stuff and uh, how we could fix. And here I'm talking about, being a path guide, right? PTG facilitator. I'm like, yeah, and about this and that. And then he starts throwing me some good wisdom about how to do some self care. And I'm like, man, we're speaking the same language. And here, we're just two humans having a conversation with one another. Someone just said something. We learned together a lot of our early traumas led us to the military
Tell you,
for others to
that was
be
a
able
wake
to
up call
undergo
when
opportunities.
I went through the barn. That was a wake up call for me. You remember that MOS module, the one where we talk about all the stuff that we've been through, all the kind of like the family tree, all
Yeah,
the people we've lost and things like that. That was kind of a wake up call for me to let me know that um, the trauma wasn't born in the military.
yeah,
The things that happened to us, I brought the good and bad with me. And when I it just kind of festered there, and then when I got out, took it with me too. So you
yeah,
carry that shit around like luggage.
yeah,
So, and honestly, I was just, it, it taught me a lot going to the barn, figuring out that, it wasn't something that really happened to me. A lot of these things were choices that I made.
yeah,
Um, after I got out, and even in law enforcement, it's just so much that you feel so tight. Your chest gets tight. You start thinking about all these things, and you really just don't know how to let it out.
yeah,
When my son was like uh, I don't know, he was like 4 or 5 years old, and he was telling everybody, you know, that he couldn't let out his frustrations, not like adults do. So you know what he did? He went outside and he took a stick and he would hit on a tree. That's it. He wouldn't yell at it. He wouldn't Kurt that I heard of. I didn't. I let him do his thing. I didn't. You know, and he just kept beating on that tree. And I'm thinking, sort of in a kind of metaphorical way, that's what we all do. We're beating on the trees. You know, we're trying to let it out, to get everything out
Yeah.
the best way that we can. And I think the barn really just kind of opened up that door and showed me that, you know, one, you don't have to stay in your trauma. You don't have to stay in your head. You know, you gotta let it out. You gotta,
Yeah.
like I say in Frozen, let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm thinking that I meet people all the time. Like I went to a car uh, mechanic,
Yeah.
and I was sitting there, and I think I told you this, that I was just sitting there, and this guy saw I had a big red barn hat on, and he said, you know, I've heard about that place. I've never knew anything about it. He's kind of hardcore, you know, and I took that as a, you know, a sign. So I went over and just started kind of talking to him. And he said he was in for a while and he got out and he, you know, went home and he got a divorce. He got remarried, got another divorce. And as he was talking, he just started crying, you know, and
Yeah.
I don't want anybody in there listening to anything else. So I told him to come outside, and
Yeah.
we walked outside, and he started sharing with me a lot more about things that were going on. And all I did was listen.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I didn't have to say anything. It's just
Yeah.
the fact that he wanted to, you know, let this stuff out and to talk about it,
Yeah.
you know, and they tell you at the barn how to truly actively listen,
Yeah.
you know, and I asked him questions. I asked him if he wanted, you know, wanted any help. He said that a week before he was thinking about maybe suicide, and I truly believe that God leads you into certain situations, and whatever you believe, I believe that that was one that just hit me. You know, like, you know, maybe I should be doing something else. You know, and you become, and I know I don't have to tell you this, you become like a vessel. You
Yeah.
know, and I tried to lead him wherever he wanted to be led. I'm, you know, I'm
Yeah.
not forcing anything on anybody.
Yeah.
You know, but when you got questions and you got, I'm not saying I have the answer, but I know how to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's, that woke me up a lot.
Yeah, Berg has this thing. He said, "When I'm frustrated, it comes off as angry. I'm not angry, but that's how it looks to others." I always use this analogy in reference to, you know, reflexive fire. Right, when we're out there and we go ready ups, we're ready up, in order to remember to put that selector lever from safe to semi and semi to safe. And we do that so many times. Why? Because we want to train our brain and create that neurological pathway in order to be able to uh, do it without thinking. It's an automatic reaction, right? Because I've had times when I'm walking with my weapon system down in combat areas, and I'm like, oh, did I put my weapon on safe? Oh, I did. Like, man, I don't remember when I did that, but it was because automatically when I bring my weapon down, there's already an automatic switch in here that says put it on safe, and that's what we do. So now we have a conversation pertaining to uh, now we have this conversation about that pertaining to your smile, right? We
Mhm.
train ourselves how many times to be angry, look angry, over and over. The reps, just like a reflexive fire, lever from safe to semi, and with an angry face. So when we walk around, we're angry and we have this angry face because, and we don't even know we have it on us, and people stay away from us. I don't know how many individuals I've actually bumped into, and they had an angry face, and I really didn't want to approach them because they looked angry. And then when I approached them, they were like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like they
Yep.
smiled, and but from a distance. they had this angry face.
You remember the pictures that we took when we first got to 30 AG?
30th AG. The
They gave
picture.
us the first picture, that the
Okay.
flag behind you and all that.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I remember there was a guy in front of me who was just smiling from ear to ear. He got smacked in the back of the head. What you got to smile about? If you knew what I know, what you're about to go through, talking about, regular boot camp,
Yeah.
then you're you got nothing to smile about. So there were a lot of people that had that pissed off look,
Yeah.
but they weren't pissed off.
Yeah.
Mainly, we were just scared to death. Like, oh my God, what I just do? but but still, I remember that, and I told my son that. So as he was coming up, whenever he was had a sports photo, like a football photo or something like that, he was mean mugging everybody.
Yeah.
And I always smiled when I saw that, like, yep, he got the idea. He knows what he's, but that's not exactly the idea. Smile when you got it.
Yeah.
But like you said, that doesn't really tell everybody what's going on the outside.
Yeah.
So I think the approach is it just like in golf, the approach matters. I mean, I remember in the military we had that dog leg in. That's the way you got to do it. Don't let
Yeah.
them see you coming. Just
Yeah.
go around, and all you got to do is just ask some questions.
Yeah.
And if they want to talk, they'll lay it out. If they don't, keep it moving. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in reference to the analogy, right? Going back to that, if we're able to train ourselves to have that smile on our face and put the reps in order to have that smile on our face and be consistent with that continuously over and over, we're able to shift that frown upside down and be able to walk into a door, and then one day they're gonna say, "Man, James, every single time you walk in through that door, you have a beautiful smile on your face. What's up with that?" And then you're like, "What? Like, what do you
Uh,
mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, you walk in, I always see a smile on your face." And then you're like, "Man, I didn't know that." But that's because you put the work, you put the effort, you stay consistent and intentional. Because when when you always have that frown and you get it to the point where you shift it to a smile, I know you put work into it, because uh, understanding so many years you have been doing that in order to shift from a frown to a smile, bro. You put some work in. You put some work in, and that is a tell sign that you've done your PTG and you're leaning in on your wellness practice. So kudos to you, and that's why I say, brother, like, I see your growth. I see individuals' growth. I don't even have to say hi to you. I see it from the distance when you're coming down. I can see that smile, and I'm not even sure if y'all know that y'all have those smiles when you're coming down, because,
yeah.
like, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, have you ever been positive about anything? We're always positive. That's what we're trying to. That's what we're trying to do now, right? From shifting from a negative to a positive.
What you call? What'd you call the show? What's it called?
Strive to thrive. Nightcap. Did
So
you
you
see
can drink
the?
whatever you want. Eat
Yeah,
whatever you want.
yeah. Love. Hey, appreciate you. Love the mug. Mm.
Yeah,
I
yeah, that's
like
cool.
holding it with both hands like this because it makes me feel like cozy and stuff. I'm like, ooh, like, and then it just makes other people want to like get a mug of tea or something, because it's that mirror neurons we talk about, right? Ooh, look at that. I'm just segueing into a new topic about mirror neurons. What is that about? What is mirror
Wow, it's
neurons,
almost
James?
like that was planned.
Yeah, I know, right? So what is that mirror neurons about? Do you know? What's that about? Do you
Neurons.
remember? Huh? Like yawning when I
No,
yawn?
yeah, yeah. Yawn, I yawn, you yawn.
Yeah.
When I yawn, you yawn.
Yeah, it's we've heard about it. Setting the
Mhm.
example for others to follow. We do. They tell us this in the military. Set the example for others to follow, or any
Right.
leader as a community first responder, whatever. Setting the example for others to follow, and the reason we say that there's leaders is because they know about those mirror neurons, where when people see you do something, they're gonna also do it, and that falls under the show me your friends, I'll show you your future stuff, right? Because if
Hmm.
you're hanging out with individuals that five individuals that drink, like Billy said, you're gonna be the sixth one, right? If you hang out with a rich individuals that are yachts and stuff, and they're making money, you're gonna be the seventh one. So I like taking his words. He makes it sound so cool when he says it. But anyway, so mirror neurons, right? Said as a leader, they used to tell us like, do right, be right, and everything will turn out right. And when you're welcome. Appreciate you, Billy. I see you're still there. You see, man, I'm learning from you, man. Yesterday, using those words, like I said, but like I said, it's it's those mirror neurons being able to, and we need to set an example. Meaning, and with I would say without trying, because if you take care of yourself in reference to self care first, you don't have to try to set the example for others to follow because you're
Hmm.
doing it without even trying. And that's what it's all about, because people are going to see you and they're going to be like, man, damn, like he's rolling, he has his music on, and I want to be in that state of mind. Hey everyone, about to head to bed. Great to see y'all. Oh, thank you, Kathy, another alumni. Woo, just want to say thank you, Kathy, for jumping on. Please share this, share it on your, I don't know, again, I'm still learning this platform, so I don't know the repost or whatever you call it, and kind of send it to other individuals so they could get some of this PTG self-care stuff. I always enjoy our community having conversations on chat. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for the like. Appreciate you. I'm telling you, like it's all about engaging and being a community and learning from one another. And like I said, it all falls under self care. And I I continuously say this: you cannot help others unless you help yourself first, and you have to take care of you, because in order to sit in the mud with someone else, you need to be in a good state of mind, and where you have capacity to sit in the mud with that individual. Because if you're in a place where you don't have the capacity and you're sitting in the mud with that individual, first thing is you're not going to be doing what you said, listening. Instead of being present and hearing what they got to say, you have that jump rope mentality where you want to jump in and interject, whether it's fix the solution or whatever. So and that's what I'm saying. That's why you have to be in a good place and have the capacity and that self-awareness to understand, why am I talking, right? WAIT.
Hmm.
Why am I talking? And if we're able to do that, man, it's amazing, because individuals who are sitting in the mud and you're there supporting them will sometimes figure out their answers on their own. They'll go like,
Hmm.
man, that's right. You know what? Now that I think about it, and now that I'm actually talking about it, you know what? I know what to do. And then you're like, yeah, I knew you. I think you're welcome. You're welcome, right? Like, you're welcome. But you're welcome because I didn't say anything. You're
It's
welcome.
like Melanie said there. I completely agree. Um, if you give, she said, I find calm response that elicit calmer conversations, even when talking about uncomfortable topics.
Ooh,
Absolutely. Yep. I know whenever I'm talking to someone and if you are agitated, it's going to agitate the situation. It's going to get hotter. It's going to get people are going to start. So definitely the other end of that is if you remain calm, hopefully they will remain calm. So definitely, I 100% agree with that.
oh yeah, because then you'll find yourself, both of y'all, venting. And I
Hmm.
was just having a conversation about venting, right? Venting, when you, so let's go into this 3 to 5 thing, right? We
Hmm.
have a 3 to 5, like me and you, or whoever it is. We're having a good conversation and we're angry and
Hmm.
all that stuff. However, venting, we're just angry and just talking negative. Me and you just
Hmm.
talking negative about this and that and this and that, and there's nothing else. There's no trying to figure out, why am I venting? Why do I feel so angry? Why am I so sad, or why am I so frustrated? That's, if you're not asking that question in that 3 to 5 conversation when you're with your brother, 3 to 5, really, that's not, you're not doing your wellness practice, and you're not using your 3 to 5 correctly. That's what my thoughts are. If you're venting, yeah, you're venting, but let's have a conversation in reference to, where is that coming from? And when you start trying to figure out where that's coming from, you could start being curious and exploring, like, you know what? Why am I angry? Wait a minute. So, because of this, because of, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm frustrated because I'm afraid that that might happen to them, what happened to me. That's
That's
why.
true. That's like it's like people throwing diving helmets at each other. You know, sometimes if you do that, then you might be inviting some anger your way.
Yeah,
Billy, that's a shout out to you, brother.
yeah, yeah. So that's the thought, is that using your 3 to 5 correctly, because you could both throw each other and vent upon each other, but if there's, the question isn't, no one asks the question within that conversation about where it's coming from, and you don't explore it, then I just feel that you're gonna continue the cycle on another conversation, and you're just gonna continue uh, manifesting and
Mm,
manifesting anger, hate, and stuff
mm,
in more conversation. You're just gonna embody that anger, and you're putting logs when you vent. But if you're able to explore, go down the rabbit hole, look for the root cause, now you're reflecting. Now you're looking back at the past, to not to reside and be angry for all week long, but to be able to explore and say, you know what, that's why, and I need to work on that. I need to give myself grace. I need to let that
mm.
go, so I could move forward.
Right.
I could move forward. Billy said I'm tracking. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. The little joke I made earlier. He
Oh,
understood it. Yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah. There's a delay here with the jokes when you put it on comments and stuff. I got to go back and look at the joke. Okay.
No, no, no. It was what I said about the diving helmet.
Oh, oh, oh!
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh.
Wow, damn!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just went over my head. Boom, boom, psh. Nah.
Well,
A good point to make is to make sure you're picking the right person to share with. You know, I would like to add this to, yeah, and what's cool about it is, I have a few nights. I call them my nights in my life, right? And they're out there, right? And those are, for me, are my brights, that Billy was saying about, making sure the people in my life. And I know those are individuals in my life that I know that I could go to, and they'll brighten up my day automatically with a conversation. Like, right off the bat, when I have conversation with these individuals, it's always the 3 to 5, the way that I explain it to you. We go down the rabbit hole, we start talking about it, and we start exploring why we feel this way. And I always feel like they're my knight in shining armor, right? And it's important. You're so right, Billy, that you have to make sure that the individuals that because we have friends. We all have friends. I have family members and everything. And as much, I love my family members and stuff, and I love my friends, but there are some friends that could go down the rabbit hole, and all the conversation is negative. Even being, they have no self-awareness in reference to that, the whole conversation has been negative, every single interaction. Uh, However, for me, I know that that's the case, and that they're struggling. And for me, because I do my wellness practices and I'm in a good state of mind, I'm able to be there and hear all this without it influencing my negative state of mind. However, after that interaction dialogue, I go and I do a wellness practice and I find one of my shining armor knights or whatever out there, and I have a good conversation with them, and it's like, oh cool, I'm regulated now again. So now I could go out and about and be around an individual that may need me in their life that is struggling. So that's what I say, that we as if we want to be servant leaders, because there's a lot of individuals out there that say, I want to help, I want to be there for others, right? But we always say we got to take care of ourselves first. And how do we take care of ourselves first? Well, we got to create that capacity to be able to be around uh those people that are struggling. I don't want to say negative people, those people that are struggling with trying to find their path. Those individuals that have no self-awareness in reference to uh, how their 3 to 5 works. But if I'm able to provide some insight and share how all this works, they're able to grow because I'm helping them, because I'm taking care of myself, and it starts with me in order to help them. So your thoughts pertain to this. I know I kind of said a lot there. You see what?
No, I 100% agree. I think that sometimes you have to get to know someone, and it doesn't take a lot to talk to someone and to truly understand the relationship. Like sometimes it doesn't really take a whole lot of verbal communication. There's a lot of physical communication too. Like, for example, you and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but you and I went to a driving range about a month ago,
Uh,
and
yeah, 3 week, 3 week. Yeah, a month ago, I would say. Man, time flies.
yeah, yeah. So we went there. It was just a shot in the hand. I knew I was just calling you to see where you were, what you were up to. You had some had a little bit of time available.
Yep.
I was gonna go in away, and we met up there, and you know I haven't seen you in a little bit, so but we picked right up. You know, it was like the communication was there. Sometimes when you're hitting the ball, we weren't really talking too much,
Yep.
but because we were doing kind of the same thing, we were still communicating. You
Yep.
know, and then after that, there may or may not have been chicken wings involved, but
Yeah. No, man, they're
you know,
good.
yeah, but you know, and then we had a little bit of a conversation after that, and after the fact, I felt relieved. I felt like a burden was lifted,
Yep.
like a weight was lifted, and I remember texting you saying, "Man, I appreciate that. You have no idea how much I needed that," and you said the same thing.
Yes.
So sometimes when you're talking to somebody, um, it's not all about what you say or what the other person says. It's
Yeah.
also, you know, it's also how it makes everybody feel.
Yeah.
So, you know, I try not to get too much into the wishy-washy thing. I leave all that to Billy, you
Yeah.
know,
No,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but seriously, I like the fact that we all, Billy included, and we're all like together and all that. And that boat trip we went on with Lyle, amazing.
Yep.
It was on so many different levels. It hit so many different things that I'm just, you know, I feel like a different person. Even my son tells me that, you know, I'm a lot different than I was, you know, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and that is a large part into you guys.
I don't understand how to use your 3 to 5, because that some individuals, or even to include myself in the beginning, like of my journey, I thought a 3 to 5 was to vent with someone, and it was crazy because if you use your 3 to 5 to vent on someone, which I would say that I did that in the beginning of my time of my self care journey, a few months after PTG, Warrior Path. I was doing that with someone, and I had no idea that I was doing it until someone acknowledged me and told me, like, hey, when we always have a conversation, you're always talking negative. And that kind of, I'm trying to stay away from that. I'm trying to stay away from that negativity. If they wouldn't have told me that's what I was doing to them, I would have never known, and they could have easily not said anything, and
Right.
we would have
Yep.
been like apart from each other and not even had a relationship now. But because they told me, I was able. Ooh, I had no idea that I was always talking negative, and it was that was my dialogue. So that individual gave me self-awareness, situational awareness of what I was doing, and I put effort into trying to every single time I had a conversation, I started doing that sandwich thing where you talk positive something positive and then you talk about negativity stuff and then you talk about a positive thing, right? You sandwich it.
It's the same thing. Same thing in leadership training is they tell you, um, you have strengths and you have not weaknesses, but opportunities.
Yeah.
And you have to look at it like that. Do the sandwich that way. You can, when you're talking to someone, and like I said earlier, we don't have all the answers, but we know how to get there and we know how to listen. And when we're trying to give a piece of ourselves, it could really go either way. So I think it's really acknowledging too. I've been working on this a lot lately myself. Is whenever you talk about something, sometimes I hear myself talking negative.
Yeah.
I know that I'm already thinking that way,
Yeah.
but if I'm talking negative, it's not helping anybody. So you have to acknowledge the things that you do have, that you may be blessed with, that you may, maybe somebody else doesn't, or you can't focus on the negativity of everything.
Yeah.
There's going to be negative things that happen. It's the shit.
Yeah.
You're going to get some on your shoe.
Yeah.
It's a fact of life. But it's how you get back up, how you wipe it off, how
Yeah.
you battle that. And
Yeah.
I think that's the whole point to the whole PTG thing is. Yeah, it sucks. There are certain things that, is going to happen,
Yeah.
but it's how you handle it. It's the people you surround yourself with. It's the people. It's not only how you handle, you heard that thing of, it's how you get up. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to focus on that stuff too. You can't just, you focus on the bad, it's going to eat you alive.
Yeah.
It did for years for me. And I know for so many, especially my brothers and sisters and all, man, I'm so thankful. See, I was talking about the negative, and now it's like I'm so thankful that Lyle turned me to try out this whole thing called PTG.
Yeah.
It changed my life. It's
Yeah.
still changing my
Oh man, thank you. Melanie said, "Yes, James. Look for the gifts in everything." I have to sign off. Love you guys. Good night. Good night,
life. Love you
Melanie.
too,
Thank you so
man.
much.
You
And
well.
Billy said it'd be so boring if it was easy. He is
It's
so
true.
there's been so many times that I had to give myself grace. Um, in my beginning of my journey, I found myself where I was still because again we were talking about we train ourselves to be so negative for me it was like 46 years of being negative, right, and not understanding what self-care was about. So and when I was trying to implement these practices and be in a good place, I still had residue. I still have residue from being
Yep.
in a negative state. So I'm gonna slip, and that's something that it's one of those things that's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So,
Hmm.
and the thing is, a lot of times when we slip, it's like, oh, I can't do it. I just can't do it. No, you can. You just gotta put the practice in because it happened to me. I was having I was doing something, washing dishes, and again, I got into it, and it being a little bit of disclosure here, I got into it with my spouse, and then I said something, and then I came back to the in the living room, and I came back to the kitchen. I said, why did I say that? Oh my gosh. Why? I was so angry at myself. Like, why? Man, come on, Dan. And I was upset with myself because I said it and I just didn't understand why. That was because I was trained in that negative state and I was still putting in the practice. And I had to understand that, you know what? I'm a work in progress and I'm gonna slip and trip and that's gonna happen It's gonna happen. It's still gonna happen, and I'm still gonna slip and trip now. I'll tell you that because 46 years of doing that compared to 3 years, I still got long ways to go. However, I'm going to continue doing the work and the practices in order to, be to less trip on myself. And if I could do that, it's a win.
Absolutely. I know. I've been riding motorcycle for about, I don't know, 15 years now. When I first started, I was riding around. And I came up to the stoplight, and when I came up to it, I parked like in the middle of the lane.
Yeah.
First thing you learn is you don't go in the middle of the lane. But I didn't know that. It was, I was pretty new at it at the time, and there was another motorcyclist who I didn't know that was behind me. And when we pulled over, or when the light turned green, I took off, and I immediately got in the outside lane. Again, not supposed to do that. So I got in the outside lane, and then I took a corner that was a little bit too sharp, and I kind of veered in the lane, and the guy that was riding behind me, saw all of this, and so a lot of negative things were going on and happening, and so when I came up to the next light, um, I pulled over to the side a little bit more, like you're kind of supposed to. And I saw the guy behind me just shaking his head, like, okay, he's getting it now. And he pulled up beside me, and he looked at me, and he pulled up his helmet, and I pulled up mine, and he says, "Hey, brother." I said, "Hey." And he goes, "Do better." And then he closed his helmet and he left. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I've been trying to do since then. Is all you can do is try to be better. When you snapped at your wife there, I do it all the time too. But you just, you know you come crawling back. No, I'm just kidding. You you have to acknowledge it, and I've learned a lot over the past few years, and one of the biggest things is, you know, um, when you find yourself going down that hole, that darkness, you know, and it creeps up so quickly, and you don't even know, why sometimes,
Yeah.
and it creeps up, and you want to wallow in it for a while.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is music. That's how I wallow in it.
Yeah.
But after the song is over, you have to do better, and remind yourself that, it could be worse. It has been worse for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I don't want to wallow in it that much. So I know I can depend on my 3 to 5. And I feel completely blessed that I know that I can do that.
Yeah.
I know that I can call Mr. Dan up pretty much anytime. Most likely he'll be awake anyway. He's always awake.
Yeah.
So and I could call people up. I could call Billy up. I could call George up, and I know this. I'm also blessed to have a wife that gives a crap, so I could talk to her. But um, a lot of things like this, she just doesn't understand why how I got somewhere. She just tries to pull me out of the
Yeah.
darkness. But now it's like I try to remind myself it. I'll hear it in the back of my head without saying it sometimes. Just do better. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Um, I had another situation where I was because every single time I did something wrong that I knew was wrong, I would say I was sorry. Like I'm sorry, and even to the point where how we talk about those three things that we or four things. I'm thank you, I'm sorry, and I love you, and what
Mhm.
you need from
Yeah.
me. Well, and to the point where I would even say I'm sorry for doing this and this and this. Well, I had been using it over and over and over that it was already I've, I had used it too many times. So I needed to change the script. I needed to shift and do something different. So what did I do when I did something wrong? Or really that I did something wrong? I didn't say anything. I tried that out. And what happened was when I tried to not say anything, but rather than do something, and maybe the next day I went to made breakfast and did something, chores, and stayed positive in a positive mindset, and say, hey, do you need anything, whatever, but never saying I'm sorry. Rather show it, and I did that. I did that, and then it passed, days passed, and then all of a sudden something happened that opened up that conversation, and I was in a place, James, where I had the capacity and able to have that conversation, and that opportunity presented itself to be able to have that conversation in a calmer state of mind in a few, because something opened up that it came back around, and another event happened, but it wasn't a bad event. It was a good event, talking about something, my son. But then that was kind of like what that was had a connection to what happened with us, that we got into it. So when we were having a conversation with my son, well, then that opened up an opportunity to talk about of the event that happened between us. And because I was already in a good state of mind to have a conversation about why I had the fear of my son, and then I was able to say, and that's why I was in a state of mind because I was scared, and that's why I kind of snapped, and I was able to apologize then, 3 days later. So sometimes the I'm sorry, it could wait a bit. Maybe
Yeah.
let everything cool down, and
Maybe it should wait a bit because you
yeah,
still got some venom. So
yeah.
yeah.
So that was something that I kind of experienced and learned, and I wanted to share that with everyone,
Mhm.
pertaining to that experience. And I mean, how many times do we say sorry, sorry right off the bat? You know?
Yeah. That definitely. You can't. You're already in a state of mind of you know I guess flux or just pissed off in a way. So you don't. All you're really doing is festering it. Then so it's a good idea to kind of back up.
So Billy he said something. He says, "Allow your actions to speak so loudly that they cannot hear what you are trying to say." Yeah, so we're down to the last 4 minutes. I tell you, time flies when we're having PTG conversations. And again, this is a Strive to Thrive Nightcap for those that jumped in. Something that I've now wanted to create, based off of an idea, based off of having some 3 to 5 conversations with my brothers, and I wanted to continue exploring and providing, individuals with an opportunity like James here, to provide his wisdom, knowledge in reference to self care and post traumatic growth. Doesn't have to be a veteran or first responder. It could be anyone else. It could be anyone that could come on and have a conversation pertaining to, this thing called self care. So again, Strive to Thrive, Nightcap is what we're doing now. And I would like to say thank you so much, James, for jumping in and helping out with this. And I'm looking forward to future content with you, whether it's this or a podcast. James also has a podcast in reference to, what's it called?
It's maxhood.com. That's maxhood.com.
Mindset.com. Yeah, and that's
I
something.
haven't
So,
uh, I haven't really done a whole lot with it lately, but
yeah.
after Christmas I'm gonna start bumping it up a little bit.
Oh,
So
yeah. Before I go, and we got 1 minute left, I want to go ahead and give James the last few words before we roll out.
I have to just say this whole journey has been just I'm so grateful to be in a place that I can accept this because it didn't start out that way. I didn't think that I was meant to for any of this. And now that I've met everyone and how we all talk and how we all get together and all, it's amazing and I completely appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, James. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and play the closing sound. Thank you so much, Billy, for, jumping in, and, Berg, you know,
He said, "Baby's crying, gotta go."
yeah, he said that you did the work, brother. You write your own story. So can you hear the music? Billy used to play this song.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. With that said, all right, everyone.